Okay. Hi, Stephanie.
Hi, how are you?
Good, thank you. How are you?
We got there.
We did. We're sorry to everyone watching for the slight delay, but we are here. Technical difficulties, but the
Yes,
show must go on.
absolutely.
So, if you could just start by, well, I'll start actually. Introduce who Parent Support are and why we've asked you to join us today. So, Parent Support is basically an online community for parents of children with special educational needs and disabilities. We aim to provide information, resources, and tailored advice for these parents to help support their child in the best way possible and get them the best help that they need to succeed throughout their life from being born to the age of around 25. So if you could just start by saying a little bit about who Gympanzees are and how it all started and things, that'd be great.
Yeah, well, thank you very much for having me on today. My name is Stephanie Wheen. I am the CEO and founder of Gympanzees. I'm actually a physiotherapist by trade. I've been working with children with disabilities for almost 20 years now, but I've also got a disabled brother. So I've been in the world for many, many more years than that. And I moved to Bristol in 2012 to set up my private practice, and was fully booked within about 9 months. And for any of you who know private practice, if you're getting regular therapy, and children just get better and better, then they're not going to leave you for a long time. So I was getting loads of referrals of parents, and they're desperate because it was, there's not that much private therapy around here. And I couldn't see anyone, and it was heartbreaking and awful. So I tried to think, how could I see more clients? And I thought, well, if I can take my clients out into the community and they can do exercise 1 week and then they can come to me the other week, and then I could see double the number of children. And I'm sure you all know this, I don't need to tell you, but it was just not what I thought it was going to be. And there were challenges at every turn. Either access, trying to actually get wheelchairs in, or there are no changing places, or it's dirty and children want to mouth everything, or the equipment was the wrong size for the children, or just loads and loads of reasons. And it was really shocking, actually. And so I started researching it a bit more, and actually widened the net and started doing some research for children with all disabilities. And it turns out it's the same, different difficulties, but the same problem for everyone. Just, if you've got a child with autism, you're going to have problems because of the sensory side, or there are parents or members of staff who just don't get it, or there's just people will understand, just too many problems. So I thought I should do something about it. I didn't realize quite what it would turn into, but my first idea was just to set up a gym within my physio practice. But then when I kind of or was aware of the scope of this, that how enormous it was, and that it's just not just for physically disabled children, I thought, well, what if I set up an actual leisure centre for everyone? And so I started in a kind of business accelerator that taught me, a huge amount about how to start businesses, and the charity world, and all kinds of stuff like that. Thank goodness, because it was a massively steep learning curve. And having worked out how this whole thing was going to run, again, speaking to loads of those parents, we then realised that actually this massive centre that we're looking to build will be the first of its kind in the UK. So we needed to do something to prove the concept, so that we knew that it was going to work, and make sure that what we were doing was the right thing. So we started setting up these pop-ups. So pop-up doesn't quite describe it. Pop-up basically is we rent out a special school for the Easter or summer holidays, and we completely empty it and fill different rooms with different activities with equipment. So We have sensory rooms, so a calm sensory room, an active sensory room, gym, soft play, trampolines, music room. I always forget one out. An indoor playground, which is kind of sensory integration, swings and hammocks, and squeezy things, sort of that kind of stuff. And then a cafe for people to be able to get together and chat. And it's all based around, from my physio point of view, around children getting active and having exercise. But then from the kind of occupational therapy, sensory integration point of view, there's a huge kind of varied sensory experience that people can have at the pop-ups. And they've been just brilliant. They completely blew us away, the feedback that we got. We've had almost 4,000 kids coming through. People doing a 5-hour round trip for an hour and a half session, people staying overnight in hotels. They can come 2 days in a row, and just seeing the happy kids and happy families and happy parents and parents who can relax, and children making huge steps forward in such a short time. So we've had children starting walking, taking their first steps. We had a little 5-year-old who slept through the night for the first time after her session. We had a little 3-year-old who had his first ever laugh, and loads of kind of sensory things, loads of children who played with other children when they never play with other children. Or we had a little girl who took off her coat and scarf for the first time, where she never takes it off in public. Or a little boy who ate in our cafe and he will never eat out and about. It was just mind-blowingly brilliant. So we love our pop-ups. They've been hugely successful, and we've learned a huge amount. We've adapted. We get loads of parent feedback to try and make it as good as possible. And if anyone has ideas, we are always open to ideas. So yeah, the pop-ups were brilliant, and we were, having proven our concept, we were on our way to going for our big capital campaign. It's going to be an 8 or 9 million capital campaign to build this centre. And we were about to launch in April, and then COVID happens.
That's such a shame.
It was such a shame. I mean, it will still happen, but yes, it was. Timing wasn't brilliant, but it wasn't brilliant for anyone. So we had to furlough quite a lot of our staff, because everything we do is event based. All our fundraising events, we do a sports day, a disability sports day as well. So everything was cancelled, and we panicked a bit, thinking, how can we help? We knew we could, speaking to parents, like, we knew that it was just horrific for everyone, even more so for a lot of our families. So we very quickly rustled together a web resource with loads of ideas of what to do at home, like exercise things, but very disability specific. So if you've got a child in a wheelchair, what kind of exercise videos are out there? Or what can you do to strengthen your core stability? I've just seen that, Katie. That's really sweet. Just love going to the pop-ups. So so it's kind of disability specific or need specific exercises and play that all have a kind of a therapy background. It's either written by myself, physio, or by a couple of OTs have also written it. So that's that side. And then we did some webinars. And actually, for me as a therapist, I find it really hard not speaking to parents and not being able to help, like, face to face. So webinars were a way to get families together and be able to do our little bit for them. We know that therapy dropped off a cliff. And a lot of it's done in schools, or a lot of the kind of education is done to teachers and not necessarily to parents. So we did these webinars, either myself, or we've got 2 occupational therapists, a speech therapist, and a behaviour therapist. And we did a kind of presentation in very small groups, 3 or 4 parents, so that we could really get to the bottom of different people's difficulties, and parents could share between themselves, which was really lovely. Like, when we said, this would be great, and one parent said, yes, I did this for 2 years and it was hard work for 2 years, but now look at the results, that's really great. So, and then one of our amazing members of staff, Fran, came up with the idea of a lending library, because all our kit, a huge amount of kit at the pop-ups, and it's just sitting there in storage. So we now lend that out to people. And it's just been really brilliant for loads of reasons. One, people you know what it's like. The specialist equipment that you want to buy, you can't just find it in a shop.
Yeah.
It's generally online. You've got no idea if your child's going to like it, and then you buy it, and your child doesn't like the feel of it, or the look of it, or the sound of it, and then that's it. You've wasted that money. So it's for people to test out what works with their children, but also because we have kind of experience within the team of loads of different areas, sensory side and physical side, etc. We can find things that people may not have thought of or know of, and then they can try it out and see if it works. And again, that's been really
That is so good. Yeah. So it sounds as though, obviously, because you were like your first of your kind in the UK, it sounds like you've had positive feedback about your pop-ups and things, but it also sounds now that you've had positive feedbacks about the ways that you've adapted since the pandemic as well. I think parents must be very happy with, because a lot of places have just sort of said, we can't offer what we normally do. So, you have to sort of wait essentially until things are available again. But the way that you've sort of thought, well, no, things still need to be in place for children, I think obviously has been received really well by everybody. So that just says so much, doesn't it? We've had a question. Obviously, your pop-ups aren't happening at the moment, but when they do, how often do they happen, and where do they usually happen? Is it always in Bristol, or how far out do you go?
Yeah, so at the moment they're in Bristol. So we run every Easter and every summer holidays for 2 weeks at Easter and 4 weeks in the summer.
Okay.
And that's it's just on the outskirts of Bristol, just off the M5. We have had people doing a 5-hour round trip, which is crazy, or people coming in and making their holiday in Bristol so that they can come there for 3 or 4 days, which is really lovely. But I know that it's not great for everyone. But the plan is to build this centre, and once we've built the first centre, we want to take the pop-ups around the country so that we can take a pop-up, say, to Manchester, and then build a centre in Manchester, and then go to Edinburgh and build one in Edinburgh, etc. So that's the long-term plan, but got to get the first one off the ground first.
Yeah, that's true. No, it sounds like it really works, and obviously for somebody to make a journey of that length, obviously what you're doing is really making such a big difference, which is great. Obviously, I'm sure for you to put all that work in, it's really worth it, and
it's definitely worth it.
Nothing else like it, so it's really needed.
Yeah.
So you've basically touched on this about how you want to open the centres in like Manchester and Edinburgh and stuff, but that's like your goal for the future. But what would you consider to be your biggest achievement already so far?
Oh, there are so many. I think, I mean, to be honest, the little things like, they're not little, but the things that happen at the pop-ups, or the things that happen in the lending libraries, when we get feedback from parents, and we love feedback, it helps us learn, it helps us get better, but also when you've made a kind of a little bit of a difference to someone's life, especially at the moment when it's so tough, I think that is huge for us. We don't take any of that lightly. But then also we've got a fantastic team. Love the team. We all have such a good time. Everyone is so passionate. Everyone works so hard, and everyone comes up with different ideas. We've got an amazing team of volunteers as well. It's spreading because it's a massive thing that we're trying to do. We've got committees coming out of our ears of volunteers who are giving their time for nothing to give their expertise. And Bristol's really got behind this. And it's just, I think there's something. I just think we're very lucky in our work because it brings out the best in people. I think you hear people sacrificing stuff or doing stuff or helping or making a real effort to help us, and I think that's a kind of an achievement of where we've got in the vision. We've got quite a few awards. We've had
always nice.
Always nice. We actually got the one that really got me was, as a physio, was the World Cerebral Palsy Day Awards for improving quality of life. So from my kind of physio background, that's like been my aim of my life, really. So
the pinnacle.
That was but I mean, the pop-ups are brilliant. The lending library, having got through COVID, because that was really scary, having got through COVID with a service that I think is better than ever. I think that's, I mean, I could go on. It's really immodest, but I could go on. It has been brilliant.
No, you'd put the work in. You deserve to go on about it.
Yeah, it has
No,
been
yeah, it sounds like obviously we've touched on all the positive feedback you've got from your parents, but in these comments alone, you're getting all the positive feedback. People are loving the pop-ups that you did, and obviously, apparently, the lending library is a very good, not, I don't want to say replacement because it's not a replacement, but a temporary solution to that as well. Yeah. And apparently, you're well worth the journey to Bristol as well, which is great to hear. So, anybody who's worried about the travel, it's worth it.
Oh, that's brilliant. Yes, our lending library is basically anyone who can get to us can lend from us. So we deliver within the BS postcodes, but you can come and collect from anywhere and drop it back off. And our equipment's not really small toys, it's big equipment. So things like bubble tubes or gym equipment or swing sets, indoor swing sets. So it's kind of, yeah, it's good meaty stuff that is really good fun for a couple of weeks.
So is there a system for that then, like a limit to how much you can lend out, or a way to find out what's available to lend? Or
yes, if you just we have a website. If you just type in lending library Gympanzees, it'll come up with a website, and you can book 2 at a time. So you can book in advance if you know it's someone's birthday or whatever. You can book 6 months in advance if you want, but then it's 1 item at a time, and you can swap over with the next item as you go. But they're generally big items that you don't necessarily need more than one. We do kind of boxes with 5 pieces of sensory kit in it or whatever. So it's not always just one item. They're quite lend themselves. And if anyone has any good ideas of what we need to put on them, we have been given grants for equipment, so we have more equipment to buy if there's anything that people really want to try or have seen that looks good.
Oh, fab. And how long can people lend things from you before they have to return?
It's 2 weeks, and then they can lend it again at another time if they want. And we double up on lots of our things like hammocks and eye joys. Do you know the eye joy? It's like a fucking bronco thing. It's brilliant. So that kind of thing's really popular. So we've got a few of them, so people can lend a few times, not one after the other, but yeah, good. We're aiming for about 250 items. I think we've got about 150 at the moment. Although some have yet to be released. We get very overexcited by releasing.
Stay tuned. So how can anybody who wants to, how can they support you in achieving your goals for the future?
One way is, I suppose, following what we're doing and sharing it. It just, for this kind of crazy amount that we're looking to raise, it takes one person in the world, in the disability world, to go, oh, actually I could really help there. But we need just to spread the word as much as possible. Absolutely. Obviously, if you're in the area, then volunteering. We have about 35 members of staff and volunteers at the pop-ups, and we're always looking for volunteers with things like delivery driving, and then just fundraising events. Our massive capital campaign will be happening to one side, and we have a big plan for that, but we also need to just keep going with what we're doing. Our business as usual, our pop-ups, our lending library, etc., needs to be kept going. We don't want to have to stop them because we don't have enough funds, and at the moment, especially in good old COVID time, we don't really get any corporate sponsorship or all the things that we were relying on before. It is really on the generosity of the public. I hate to ask for money, but actually that's how we keep our services going. So fundraising events, we really love to see what people, our aim is to get people active and health and that kind of thing. So we are running something called Move It My Way, which is it'll be a month of online, well, not online, but people do things at home. So for a month, maybe your child can stand for 10 seconds every day for a month, or can run around the block every day for a month, or once a week for a month, or whatever it is, as a fundraising thing. Just trying to get people motivated and active. So if people want to do that kind of thing, then great.
That sounds all amazing. I just feel bad that, all this has happened and you've had to change so many things, but it sounds like you've adapted really well and everyone's still happy with, anything still going at the moment because nobody knows what's around the corner, do they?
I know. Ugh, and this third lockdown has definitely, our feedback from our families has been, this has hit people really hard. So, we do our bit, but God, we can't wait to get out.
I can imagine.
See people's faces again.
Is it like April you're hoping to get the pop-ups back? Is that?
We don't. It's not
too
the
soon.
school.
That's soon, isn't it?
The school won't let us. It's too
Yeah.
late. But we're looking for the summer for the next pop-up.
Okay, that's not too far.
Yeah, not too far. Yeah, hopefully. Can't wait. We're all desperate to see everyone again. So.
Oh, I can imagine. It's like obviously like the webinars and stuff are good, but obviously not, as you said before, nothing like face to face, is there?
No.
Especially with the therapy side that you do. It's like a lot of it does have to kind of be hands on to get that full benefit, doesn't it? So it's just
and a lot of children can't do face to face or Zoom or it just doesn't work. So we've been lucky enough to speak to some parents, but it's very difficult to to be with the children as we'd like to be. So bring on the summer.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Just before we go into like where this video can be viewed if people haven't been able to view it now, just as a final thing, obviously we've touched on like how good your feedback's been from like a parent side, which is obviously key for us as well. But what have you had directly from the children? Have the children said anything to you about how you've helped them?
I suppose we hear less from the children because a lot of them are either non-verbal or cognitively not able to tell us what they're thinking. But there is a 16-year-old who I know quite well who has cerebral palsy, and he rented the iJoy.
Oh yes, yeah.
I think because no one else was renting it out, he had it for about 6 weeks. And he said that his core had improved massively and he loves it and he does some of his homework on it, and just the opportunity, and I think actually the family are now going to buy one because it works so well for him. So that was lovely. And then we had a little I think he's about 7 or 8-year-old boy who has never rolled before in his life, and he got on this vibrating mat and started rolling and was rolling every day on this mat, which was lovely. And then another one, and it's endless, another lovely little girl who has really bad constipation, which I don't know if any of you have this with your children, but it's horrific. And she rented the iJoy as well and didn't have constipation for the whole 2 weeks that she had it. So they're getting one as well. But lots of parents and children playing together, but children who don't play with their siblings who started playing with their siblings, or whole families who were able to relax. Or actually, that I saw a piece of feedback earlier today from a mother who was saying, yes, we got the vibrating mat thinking that it would help my son with hemiplegia to give him more sensory impact, but actually I don't think that happened. But the amount of giggles from the whole family when we were on it, and actually I use it for 10 minutes to meditate in the morning and it means I get some calm. That's brilliant.
Still benefit in a different way, isn't it? It's still that pastoral care and stuff, isn't it? So any benefit helps.
Yeah, exactly.
And we've had a question as well, asking whether it's been easy to get other therapists on board with what you do.
Yeah, actually.
I would imagine, because
we've had all the therapists we had for our webinars did it for free. They're all volunteers, they're all private, but actually the NHS have, they refer people to us and they're aware of our services. Quite a lot of them have been to the pop-ups. They come with their children just to, to see what it's like, and they've been really, really supportive. Actually, I think if you're in the NHS, I was in the NHS before I went private, and it's really tough knowing that you want to do more and you can't. So actually being able to find somewhere that you can signpost people that can help, that's for most NHS therapists, they're well up for that. So yeah, it's been really good.
Yeah, the fact that they do it for free as well is just a testament, one, to how good and beneficial what your work is, but also how rewarding it is to them personally to be a part of it. It's just
they're also just
amazing.
brilliant therapists, and they're lovely. We're very lucky. We have a
So good, yeah.
very lovely team, wider team around us.
Might be making a trip to Bristol myself after this. Curious myself now.
Oh, come and see it. You kind of have to see it. We've got one of our trustees who's been involved for about 5 years now. Her husband, the three of us have dinner often, so I know him really, really well. And it took him, I think, almost 4 years of us having talked about it, and then he came to the pop-up for the first time, and he was like, I had no idea. I couldn't envisage this. This isn't what I was thinking. And I think you kind of need to see it to believe it, because it's
like a massive scale, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Full days, like 3 weeks worth behind the scenes for big, massive.
Oof. God, no, about
more than
4
3
months. It's about 4 months.
3
4
months.
months of preparation. It's a huge amount of work.
And then I bet you it just flies by, doesn't it, as well?
Yeah, it does. Yeah,
but
well, we're already working on the summer, so yeah.
It's going to be massive, guys. Make sure you go. Make sure everybody turns up for the big, the big return in the summer.
Yeah, it's going to be a party.
Sounds
a quiet one, a sensory sensitive one, but it'll be a party.
Of course. Everybody needs that after the year we've had.
Yeah,
everybody needs that stimulation back.
Yeah, absolutely.
Amazing. We've had so many people wanting one up north, in Liverpool, on the Wirral. Everybody wants them everywhere.
So the plan was to franchise before COVID. Again, we were looking into it. It is something that it just depends if we have time. With the capital campaign, it is going to be hugely time consuming. But if we can find the right therapist or professional staff who has that experience over all different disabilities, who could lead it, then it is something that we're thinking about franchising in different parts of the country, because we hear this quite a lot from. It's not just Bristol who've got these difficulties; it's everywhere. So, any energetic and crazy therapists out there? Get in touch.
Yeah, but it does sound like you've got enough on your plate in terms of big plans anyway with the capital thing. But being able to franchise as well would be obviously amazing. And I'm sure, based on the comments alone from this, you'd have plenty of demand straight away, no matter where you settle. So that's always good to know, that you'd be secure straight away.
Yeah, that'd be good.
But no. Anyway, so thank you so much for talking to me today. Apologies again to you and to everybody who tuned in for the technical difficulties, but we got there.
We did.
Just to reiterate as well, it's going to be, this video will be saved on our Facebook, and also we'll be uploading it to our YouTube, so we'll let everybody know when that's happened. And I think obviously we're streaming to Gympanzees page as well, so you should be able to save that yourselves in case anybody wants to watch it on demand, because that's what everybody does these days, don't they? So thank you so much again, and I'm sure we will speak in the future.
Lovely. Thank you so much. Bye, everyone, for coming.
Right.